that it's not true, that it's whatever, verify whatever it is. So they'll have a Trump tweet, and what it'll say, this claim about election fraud is disputed. That's the way they do it. That's what Twitter does to every Trump tweet. But Cruz admits and gets Dorsey to do it. He's not an expert in voter fraud. So what the hell is Twitter doing engaging in policing it? Why is Twitter putting warnings on virtually any? I think we got the audio.
Yeah, you know why they're doing it. Is there even a question?
Here it is. Soundbites 33 and 34. Here it is. This is the first one. This 33 gets it.
Mr. Dorsey, does voter fraud exist?
I don't know for certain.
Are you an expert in voter fraud?
No, I'm not.
Well, why then is Twitter right now putting purported warnings on virtually any statement about voter fraud?
We're simply linking to a broader conversation so that people have more information.
No, you're not. You put up a page that says, quote, voter fraud of any kind is exceedingly rare in the United States. That's not linking to a broader conversation. That's taking a disputed policy position. And you're a publisher when you're doing that. You're entitled to take a policy position, but you don't get to pretend you're not a publisher and get a special benefit under Section 230 as a result.
Aha. So this was Ted Cruz moving in on Section 230. Something does need to be done about that. It allows these guys to say and do whatever they want. It allows them to be protected against any liability. They can hide behind whatever their screwball users. I love this idea that Cookville is conservative media. Cookville is Twitter. But anyway, I want to like the basic question and answer here. Ted Cruz asks him if voter fraud exists. I don't know. Are you an expert? No, I'm not. Well, then what the hell are you doing policing it?
We know what he's doing, Russ.
This guy would say, if he had the guts, is it because I have the power to do it, and you can't stop me, and I hate Republicans, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure they don't win.
Yes. That's what it is.
That would be Jack Dorsey's honest answer if he cared to engage in it.
Correct.
Here's the next bite, where Dorsey says he has no knowledge on the subject, and Ted Cruz proves it.
Are you aware that just 2 weeks ago in the state of Texas, a woman was charged with 134 counts of election fraud? Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware of that.
If I tweeted that statement with a link to the indictment, would you put a wording on it that says, well, the Democratic Party position right now is voter fraud doesn't exist?
I don't think it's useful to get into hypotheticals, but I don't believe so.
You don't believe so? Well, we're going to test that because I'm going to tweet that and we'll see what you put on it.
Oh, so Ted Cruz.
Don't tell him ahead of time. Do it before the damn thing.
134 counts of election fraud. Dorsey not knowing about it. We'll see what Twitter does. Dorsey's hustling now to make sure nobody touches that tweet.
Yeah, exactly. Don't tell him what you're doing. Do it before the hearing. All right, dingus.
Now, let me get back
what are you doing?
To the Sidney Powell story, the John Dorsey piece on this. It's a great summation here of what is happening. And by the way, the raving testimonial I gave Sidney Powell, I could also give to Lynn Wood, although I don't know him. I've never interviewed him. But these are people that have no reputation as phonies, liars, charlatans, opportunists. None of that has ever attached to them. So when you hear these people talk about the evidence they've got, the ontological certitude they have over this election being stolen and fraudulent, it's difficult, folks, to just not believe them because of who they are. This is going to be a real test because these two people have impeccable reputations. They have as impeccable a reputation as you could hope to achieve. The only thing they are not is liberals. If they were liberals, they would be king and queen. But they're not. And they may not be conservatives. They could be libertarians. They could be apolitical. Sidney Powell, I don't know what her politics are. You might want to assume. But my point is that their reputations you can't touch. If an untouchable reputation is a goal of yours in your life, if you hope that at some point in your adult life you've achieved this great achievement of an impeccable reputation, these two people have done that. And it's going to be real interesting to see how they are dealt with. And it's going to be interesting to see just how valuable in 2020 and 2021 an impeccable reputation is. I can speak for myself in saying growing up in our family, an impeccable reputation was regarded as something special. It was regarded as something to pursue. It was taught to us as something very difficult to achieve, that it required constant and vigilant attention and effort to everything you did, in especially the way you treat other people. If my dad said to me, if you want to really determine the character of somebody, watch how they treat people who can't do anything for them. And boy, has that been proven true. But here we have these two people, impeccable reputations. That alone should make them believable. But will it? Do reputations really count for more than a political ideology in 2020? We'll take a break. Be right back.
Rush Limbaugh, because we know for you only the best will do.
The Ted Cruz thing, going back to that, because he was talking about Sidney Powell, which she seems to be pretty awesome, hopefully. But I give you my opinion on Ted Cruz. He's a little bit suspect in my opinion. What he seems to talk about and what he does is sometimes not the same thing. I really kind of wonder about him, if he's like he seems like Fox News to me. Like Fox News is kind of good for the most part, but then they're just waiting to stab the knife in. I kind of think that's like Ted Cruz, especially in that's coming from a guy who has supported him for quite a while. Now I'm talking about pre-2016. Maybe even pre-2015. Because I was a big fan of him. I'm a part of the Young Americans for Liberty, the YAL, or was. I wasn't bigly involved with them, but I was still a member getting emails and all that, and he was one of the people they supported for Congress, much like Rand Paul. I think they got in the same year, as a matter of fact, or 2 years off. Rand Paul was 2010, I know that for sure, and I'm pretty sure Ted Cruz was 2010 or maybe 2012, but I think it was 2010. So Ted Cruz is all around pretty good, but he does seem to, and what borne my statement true was the fact that he threw Trump completely under the bus at the RNC. That was an awful, awful move. That was pretty despicable, actually. And yet it was about a comment about his wife, And you can say whatever you want about the way Trump says things. Cruz seems to be behind him now, for the most part, and has voted accordingly. Cruz does great things like calls out the $1 trillion spending bill that the Republicans approved in the Senate, which was ridiculous in my opinion. So maybe he's just a wild card. Maybe he is just going by what he thinks. Maybe he's not controlled opposition. I tend to wane back and forth with it. But like I said, I think for the most part he's good, but I just question when the knife in the back is coming from people like him in Fox News. You know, Trump made fun of Rand Paul's hair. You know, is Rand Paul gonna denounce him at the, you know, at any point? I don't think he has, and he's gotten along great with the president. But that was something kind of shady that Ted Cruz did. He couldn't get past that, you know. He really, and it's crazy because every time somebody does something like what Ted Cruz does and buries the president, the left seems to absolutely love them and anoint them. Like President George W. Bush. How? What universe would the left praise George W. Bush? That makes absolutely no sense. Praise the first Bush because he voted for Hillary, and praise George Bush when he knocks Trump, you know, saying that, you know, acting like Mitt Romney is amazing and John McCain's just amazing. Just thank God for Mitt Romney and John McCain. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I got to hit my appointment. So, as always, my new closing statement is God bless y'all and God bless America. Peace.